Well, a recent study found that 15% of Canadian snowbirds are no longer wintering in the U.S. South.
CTV's Scott Hurst joins us live now for a look at why some are rethinking their annual migration. Scott, I think we can all know why. I mean, the elbows up movement, the trade war with the U.S. I'm sure these are some big factors.
Yeah, also the loony's a big one, too. But hearing our friend Bill Coulter talk about that bitter cold that's on the way, guys, I'm thinking about planning a beach vacation, and you're more than welcome to join me. But we have seen a noticeable drop in the number of Canadians heading south. Specifically, right now, we're talking about mostly retirees, of course, snowbirds. But we've also seen this drop overall in travel data from StatsCan, but a recent survey that does focus on snowbirds shows a roughly 12 to 15% decline in travel to the U.S., according to respondents to that survey, compared to last year. And some of the main reasons include, as you mentioned, Jen, the political climate is one that's grabbed a lot of headlines. Trade tensions, ongoing threats from the White House and the Trump administration. Also, confusion around changes to border requirements are often seen as another reason why people are thinking twice about heading across the border. But we should point out a big one is the weak loonie up against the U.S. dollar. That, of course, a huge drain on the overall cost of your trip. But that doesn't mean nobody is crossing, of course. That survey also shows that 70% of respondents are still planning to head to the U.S. In terms of snowbird travel. Of course, they are a huge population, mostly retirees, heading to places like Florida, Arizona, Texas, California, for a lot of reasons why they still plan to go, including maybe there's an investment, real estate is a big one, or they've already put money into their trip, or these places that Canadian snowbirds have gone for many years, potentially decades, where they feel that sense of community. So there is a huge portion of people who are deciding not to go, but there are still a significant amount of people who are still planning this trip, despite all the headlines about travel to the U.S. Now, the majority of Canadian snowbirds, as I mentioned, are still going to the U.S. this winter. But some of the other destinations that we've heard where Canadians are trying to find new places to travel include Mexico, Costa Rica, Portugal, Spain, other places throughout the Caribbean. And in terms of travel overall, we've seen this, as I mentioned, from StatsCan numbers. Canadians are still traveling, even though they might not be going in big numbers to the U.S. In terms of return trips for Canadians by air, we've seen that down close to 20% from the United States. However, it is up, in fact, 10% from overseas countries, guys. So with that cold snap on the way, maybe all of us will be changing our plans and heading south right now.
All right, you make the booking. We'll be there. Thanks so much. That's CTV's Scott Hurst live ahead of a very cold winter's day tomorrow. Scott, thank you.